Okay, so first things first, I'm going to talk about the first two big games that I played this year. And if you guys have watched me at all this past little bit, you would know which games I'm talking about. The first most common game is a game I've been playing all year long, and that is GTA 5 Roleplay on NoPixel. I think really this year was the year when I started really playing a lot more Moomin Rider. I felt like I got to sort of an end with Benjamin Banjo at some point this year, or maybe it was towards the end of last year. I don't remember actually. I started playing Moomin Rider a lot, and Moomin Rider was something a little bit special. If you guys didn't watch, I put up a video talking about why I think Moomin Rider is such a cool character for me and why he is something that I think fits me and my schedule and like kind of where I am on the platform. There is something in me that wants to create a more complete character that has like lots of cool relationships and friends and like lots of things going on with the game mechanics and stuff like that. And I still might create a character like that, especially since there's a server reset. There's going to be a big reset on NoPixel coming up. And so I might try some of those other character ideas that I have. But Moomin Rider is really perfect for me, mostly because I don't have any sort of prio, so I'm not getting on the server a lot. And so I don't really have an opportunity to create a lot of stories with other players. And so having a character that kind of just rolls up on people and just announces himself is really good. The other really good thing about him is he's really recognizable. And I do the same thing. Even if people have never seen One Punch Man, they will recognize me because I wear the same thing. I ride a bike and I talk in the same voice and I say the same thing like every time I roll up on somebody. It's that asshole with the bike. Exactly, Lambs. And I know that it's sometimes kind of annoying. I hope I don't annoy anybody really a lot, but like I definitely think it's recognizable. I don't think everyone recognizes me, but I am always really surprised how many people remember me and be like, oh, it's this guy. And I've started crap with like the BBMC and the HOA, and I've started so much crap with the clowns, and it's just like, it's been fun to be a part of that without actually investing a lot of time. I'm not sure if you're not a GTA roleplay or NoPixel viewer, you don't realize that some of these streamers and players, even some with full-time jobs, are getting on and playing on that server 6, 7, 8, 10 hours a day. It's crazy. If they have a regular day job, that must be the only thing they do, right? Maybe they have like a part-time job or something. I'm sure everyone's situation is different. Kitty cat, please. I'm trying to do my 2022 game review. So NoPixel has been a huge part of this year. Obviously, I've tried to play as much as I possibly can. It's been so much fun. I feel like I've started a lot of cool things with people, and I also started like kind of creating some more YouTube content around Moomin Rider, and I think that was just towards the end of the year, and that was a lot of fun too, and I'm going to continue to try to do that. Okay, so that's enough of NoPixel. You guys know that I play that all the time and I really like it. It's going to be really interesting this coming year with the hardcore server and 4.0 or whatever's going to happen there. The second one, which is obvious if you guys watch me all year, is Elden Ring. I played Elden Ring for like 150 hours probably. That game is, you guys know I like Souls games. I love Dark Souls. I love Bloodborne. I love Sekiro. I love all those FromSoft games. They're so great. Elden Ring is just a mega one of those. It's just so huge, and there's so much to explore and so much to see. The way I play those games, I'm just like completionist. I gotta like look at every nook and cranny. I know even with my and I don't want to know anything. I just want to explore it myself. And I know that I missed things, and that part of it sort of drives me crazy. I try to fight every boss. I tried to fight every single optional boss. I tried to get everyone. And I'm sure I missed some. There's a lot of world bosses and things that I know that I didn't get to. I tried to get as many as I could. Man, what a great game. Finest video game ever made. The Underground. There's so much in the Underground. It's crazy. I think the similar feeling.
Now, go forth. Become Elden Lord.
There's so much to see in this game. I think I think that was one of the things that really struck me about Elden Ring. It reminded me a little bit of The Witcher 3. There was like a moment in Witcher 3 when I just realized the scale of the map and realized how much detail there was. But there was a point when I just realized the scale of that game and how much there was. I just sat there like awestruck. God, this game is huge. How did they make this? That's the same feeling I got from Elden Ring. There were just so many parts where you just opened up a part of the map, or you got into the underground, or you got into a new secret area, or you entered a city that had 5 or 6 or 7 layers down. And I'm just sitting here like, when does it end? There's so much here. When did FromSoft have time to make this game? It feels like something that should have been made over like 30 years. And the detail and the level of care that they put into the music, into different characters and the different bosses and all the different areas and even like the little enemies, it's just, it really is something special. To me, it deserves Game of the Year hands down. I didn't play a lot of games this year, so I am not an authority on that. I'm not gonna say like, oh, my Game of the Year is important. I don't think that's really appropriate, given that I didn't even play like God of War, the other game that's probably was Game of the Year for a lot of people. I didn't even play that game. And then the other games that I played were just a bunch of random ones. We'll move on from Elden Ring. Elden Ring was great. I really like this game. It is one of my favorites by far, and it's probably probably is my favorite game I've played all last year too, and maybe the year before. I mean, that's been the best game I've played in quite a long time. Next game that I played for a little while and I had a lot of fun with, I played a lot off stream too, was Chivalry 2. Chivalry 2 is a multiplayer. It was super bloody. It was very like in your face, but the combat was fun. It was fun to swing your sword. It was fun to kind of like block and direct your sword in certain ways, and it was like there's a lot of strategy with how you approach different situations, and the character classes were all really unique and like special ways of fighting with each of them, and I don't know if all of the moves were really super well thought out in terms of like, you know, I know there are like parries and like counters and stuff like that. It just seems like I just go in and just swing my like just try to hit the guys and move around and like try to dodge this and that, but he's got his arm lopped off. You can run around and fight with your arm lopped off. That was kind of an interesting situation sometimes. But yeah, it's a really great game. I appreciated this so much. Oh yeah, you could launch yourself with the catapults too. I forgot about that. And this trebuchet level was amazing when you would explode it and everyone would fly off. Yeah, that was a great game. I really enjoyed my time with this. Another one that I played this year, The Forest. This was a cool game. I played it multiplayer, so I played this with Grim Days, and I think Soul joined me, and Ankh at times, and I can't remember if there's anyone else that joined me. But that was fun. I had a really good time with this game. I did not finish it. It was really hard. By the time you start seeing some pretty intense like cannibals and like caves, and you started getting more and more stuff, it got pretty crazy. I think that the base building, it's almost encourages you to go out there and explore and fight more than it does to base build, because if you sit in base build, you're gonna be in a bad situation. You can try to like keep them out and stuff like that, and try to defend your base and things, but it just seemed almost like pointless at some point to me. But because just these some of these monsters they're showing here that show up at your base, they make it really tough. But it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun multiplayer experience. I don't know if I would ever want to do like a single player forest thing. It seems like it would be kind of tough. Tough in like not as much of a fun way, but I had a really good time playing this with friends. It was really fun like that. Next one is another FromSoft game that I played on the PS5 when I first got the PS5, and that was Demon Souls. So I'm sure there's Demon Souls. Well, actually, Demon Souls is a PS5 exclusive, so you're not gonna see any trailers here. Maybe I can pull it up on like YouTube or something. Yeah, like Demon Souls is a remastered game by Blue Point. They remastered the original PS3 game on the PS5. It was cool. I really like this game. I'm glad that I played it in this mode. Like, I'm recognizing some of these areas. There's some really epic fights and enemies and pretty cool ideas that were in this game. I think of all the From games that I played, I think it's sort of the weakest. I don't know if I would put this above Dark Souls 2 or not, which I think was probably the weakest. I don't think so. I think I would put this behind Dark Souls 2 even. But it's kind of like, I appreciated so much about this game. That's what really counted. There's so much to appreciate about it. And just, there's like, if you've played other Dark Souls games or other FromSoft games, you could see like where they got the ideas for so many other things. Even in the remake, which I think probably smoothed things over a lot. There's just a lot of really unique, cool things in this game. Like the monk boss, where it was actually a player. Like you can go and be the boss for someone else, and people would do that. I thought that was really neat. And this game was created way back before Dark Souls, and so you could see where all these ideas came from. And there's like levels that reminded me of Bloodborne. There's levels that reminded me of Dark Souls. There's bosses that reminded me of bosses that you saw later in Dark Souls or in Bloodborne. It's like, okay, this is where they actually, this inspired a lot of things, obviously. That was really cool. I like that part about it. It is, to me, it is the weakest of those types of games. That doesn't mean it's bad. It wasn't bad. If I was going to suggest a game to play, I would suggest, as like a starter, I would suggest Dark Souls. Another game I played is this one, A Short Hike. This is a cool little kind of 3D pixel exploring kind of, I don't know what you call it. You kind of explore the island and you hike around and you do little quests. And it was really satisfying, really fun. I love the art. It was a cool little indie game that I got into this year. I didn't get into a lot of indie games this year, which I hope I can correct that this year. Because this is the type of experience that I was really happy to have and really happy to see. I know I played some of this off stream too because I liked it so much. So it's not that expensive on Steam, so it's like $5 or maybe less. I had a lot of fun with it. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. Yeah, $5.19. Super, super great. Another free game, which is free, Aperture Desk Job.
Grady, that is your...
This is a game that was super short. It was supposed to be kind of like released as like, hey, we're releasing the Steam Deck. We're also going to release this game, and like kind of almost like a launch game, which I thought was pretty neat. And they got the guy that is voicing this robot is a comedian that is really hilarious. Oh, what was his name? He is really funny. Nate Bargatze. And he's really funny in this game too.
Inspection desk, you are a product inspector.
It's really cool, and I think just as a free experience that takes you about an hour or less, if you ever...
Job is bad? Well, your job is bad.
If you like Portal or those types of things, like, definitely check it out. It was cool. It was definitely worth it. Well, worth it. It's free. I mean, God, it's of course it's worth it. Okay, another one that I played that was really cool, another indie game. I must have gotten into indie games like towards the beginning of the year. This is a game called Iron Lung. Man, this game was surprisingly awesome in so many ways. How much is this game? $5.40. Man, what a cool experience. It's also really short, made by like one person. Amazingly well done. It is kind of, it's one of these super low res polygonal indie horror games, and it is cool. I really enjoyed it, and it sort of builds up to like kind of one moment, but it's totally worth it, and I loved it.
Cruising depth in roughly 40 seconds. Stand by.
You take pictures. It puts you in this environment that's creepy and just does so much with so little. And I don't know. I think that, man, I wish I could find more like little gems like this.
We're starting to lose radio signal. You'll be at cruise depth soon, so
you descend into an ocean of blood and you like navigate this thing around and take pictures, and stuff happens and it's crazy, and man, it's fun. Yeah, I must have been like on an indie like kick in March. I gotta play more indie games. Okay, so this next one, I played this one. I was excited about this. It ended up not being great. This game is called Heavenly Bodies. It's like a space walk puzzle game, essentially. The reason it's not that great is the controls are very frustrating, and not in like a fun way. It's not in like a getting over it kind of way where it's frustrating, but it's also like that's kind of the challenge. I don't know why my arms are moving this way. Why can't I grab this? Why can't I fit through here? Why am I spinning around right now? It's just really frustrating. Like to the point where after a few hours, I was like, this is not fun anymore. I like the idea of it. You know, they make it look like, oh, well, you just got to do this stuff. It's like so easy. I think that maybe you could get good enough to where like, you know, you can figure out like how to move things around and do stuff a little easier. I didn't know there was a co-op mode. But man, I just felt like I was flopping around the whole time. I didn't get to some of these levels even. I gave up at some point. Man, that satellite, building a satellite backup level was ridiculous. I wonder if it ever got any better. I just don't know. I didn't have that much fun with it. This game was right up my alley. A few years ago, a game came out called The Witness. I loved that game. The Witness was amazing. It was probably one of the best puzzle games, if not the best puzzle game I've ever played. What an awesome game that was. This game is a parody of The Witness, and it's so funny and so good. And again, there's a thing at the end that is just a great payoff to the whole joke. It's a short game and it's free. It's only like, I don't know, an hour or something. But man, it's worth it. Oh, it's free. Of course it's worth it. The time is worth it. From the mind that was not behind The Witness. It's funny. It's good. I'm glad the trailer didn't show much about it. Winner of nothing. The game isn't out yet. 9.5 equals 10 minus 0.5. Oh boy, it's good. I'm glad. I mean, this is a funny game. Whoever created this game did a really good job, and I appreciate the parody. And man, like, how they just made this game for free? What the heck? The next is another bad game that I got that I kind of regretted getting.
Let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
I started trying it, and I got this, it's like this kind of philosophical, like...
Even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us
with like a very
will die.
complex plot, or like, I guess, moralistic plot. It's supposed to like teach you a lesson or something. I got into it, and I just slowly... I think it was kind of like... I didn't really appreciate it that much. But I didn't get very far, so maybe it got really good. I just thought like the characters looked dumb. The voice acting was kind of eh. Playing it wasn't a lot of fun. I don't know what's going on with the plot here. They're showing a lot of things, and I'm just like, eh. Looks like they got a lot of good ratings. Those people probably finished the game. Here's a better one of something I played called Patrick's Parabox. A puzzle game where you move boxes around and the boxes go inside of boxes, and sometimes the boxes are mirrors of other boxes, and sometimes if you put a box inside of the mirror of itself, it goes into like the infinity world. It does all these really neat spatial logic puzzles and ideas. This is probably the best puzzle game I played this year. It was a lot of fun, and I played it a bunch on stream. I also 100%ed it after I was done streaming it. I went back and got all the challenge levels, so you know I liked it. 22 out of 22 achievements. See? Can you see that? You see that? See? A really cool game. I enjoyed this a lot. Had some really cool ideas, and I know it like probably people watching me play were like, what the heck is going on here, as I like struggled through each little thing. I think that sometimes it was hard to, as a viewer, I think it's kind of hard to get into something like this unless you've been watching it the whole time. But like for someone that just showed up and was like, what's he doing? What's he playing? It's like, not such a great game for that. That's kind of why I finished it off stream, because I was just like, I actually think I finished the last few puzzles to get 100% on stream, but I know I didn't play the entire thing on stream. It was a really cool game. I appreciated this game a lot. Like I said, best puzzle game for sure. Another puzzle game that was also very good, but not the best, but very good, was this game called Superliminal, which is a game about perspective and objects getting bigger when you put them up in the air and drop them. There's a lot of like perspective switches and things like that that were pretty neat. You'll see, they'll show a lot of them here. It's like, oh, look at the monitor got smaller. Oh, the monitor got bigger. Oh, I don't know about the most innovative since Portal. It was cool. Very satisfying, I agree with that. I think there was a lot of neat little things. I think the plot and kind of the undertone of the game was a little weird. I don't think it was the best, but I do like the puzzles. I like how the perspective was always altered and a lot of weird things are going on. A lot of really weird things are going on. It was cool. I appreciated this a lot too. Patrick's Parabox is better, but I like that one too. I'm not, by the way, these are just games I played this year. That doesn't mean this came out this year. That came out in 2020. Next one. So I'm going to start getting into games that I played recently. This is a very heavy game. Hellblade. About this, not a Viking. Well, I guess she's like living in Viking times. Maybe she's like from the British Isles, like where the Vikings are and around. So like kind of like Celtic background, and she's sort of struggling with her inner self this whole game, and struggling with anxiety and depression, and like she's had all these really horrible things happen to her, and she's trying to figure out a way to deal with it. And all the while there's a lot of like crazy monsters that she's facing. The idea is she's going through like Helheim, like the Viking underworld, and like kind of facing all these gods and demons to try to bring back her lover that has been killed, and all the things that go along with that, and the heavy way that she has to deal with all of her problems and where all of these issues came from in her past and all the stuff. So it is a very heavy game.
Senua.
Do you hear them?
The voice acting and the sound design in this game was impeccable. If I had to pick a best sound design of a game I play this year, it would be this one. The way that they did the surround sound and the way that they kind of always had these voices whispering in your ear was pretty incredible. I had a lot of fun with that part of it. I think there was a lot to appreciate there.
She's changing.
The puzzle's pretty fun. The fighting was the worst part of the game. It felt a little cheap, I guess. It didn't feel complicated enough, and I think sometimes the controls and the reaction times that you needed and things like that didn't seem quite right. I think I played this game like right after I was done with Elden Ring, where I was just like, I was locked in Elden Ring, and the way that all the delays and the way you dodge and things and so I it's unfair a little bit because I had to play this game right after that. I think I was judging that part of it more harshly, but I think even if I'm being very fair, that part is the weakest, the combat. I wish the game was just all puzzles, actually. It would have been better, I think. The story was great. The acting was great. Visually, it was amazing. I think the performance of this game was a little sluggish, even on my computer, which I think is pretty decent for this kind of thing. And this game's kind of an older game, so I was kind of a little bit surprised about that it would start to slow down my computer. I'd drop frames and stuff, and it was like, But I don't know. I'm not going to be the one that talks about like technical side of this stuff. It didn't feel like it was as optimized as it should be. So those are like my main two criticisms. The combat and the optimization. But when it looked good, it looked really good. The sound design was perfect. Voice acting was amazing. This main character, Senua, the actress that played her, was awesome. I mean, this is just kind of like on another level when it comes to like any game. And I know this wasn't really a AAA game. I think it sort of is, but not really. It's kind of like a AA game. Not really indie, but it looks really good. And they put some effort into the visuals and acting, like more than you would expect from kind of an indie title. I know there's a sequel. I would definitely play the sequel. I don't know if I would play it right away. Maybe I'll wait a little while to do that, but what a good game. Watch the trailer.
It's the same, but different. This darkness takes everything. I won't give up. I'll find you, man. I promise.
Man, like I said, the voice acting, the sound design.
I made a promise, and I will go to hell to keep it.
You cannot escape this waking nightmare. Do you still hear his screams?
Very, very deep game.
You destroyed everything.
There's one of the demons that she played,
I'll
that she
give you my
fought.
life. That's what you want, isn't it?
The gods will punish you for this.
They can't stop me.
The boss fights are
I
also
fulfill
not
my
great.
vow.
I mean, that's part of the combat.
Whatever
But
the cost.
I wonder if they improved any of that in the sequel. I don't know. Despite all this, maybe all this stuff was turned on for me and it just kind of made it sluggish. I don't know. Maybe I didn't have my settings right. Okay, 3 more games, I'm going to talk about. 2 of them I have not finished. I'm going to save those 2 for last. The one that I also have not finished, but is not really a game that I can finish, is a game called Dark and Darker. It is a Tarkov-like battle royale fantasy setting kind of world where you enter a dungeon as a class of character with gear that you bring in or no gear at all, and you collect treasure and you try to escape. And in this same dungeon there are 10 other players, 15 players total maybe. I think there's 15 total in the same dungeon. Like a battle royale, a circle is closing as you go on, and as the circle closes it will reveal portals to exit. The idea is to get as much treasure as you can, defeat enemies to collect treasure. There's a bunch of PvE, so there's skeletons and zombies and necromancers and all sorts of stuff in the dungeon that you have to fight. And then each of those things will drop things and you get treasures, but if you die either to another player or to an NPC, then all the stuff that you brought in and anything you collected is gone. So it's like Tarkov in that sense. Like you're supposed to kind of go in, get what you can, and then get out. And then maybe as you accumulate more and more and more and you have some wealth, you can then go buy items and then take those things in, and then you can have a better chance to survive, and then maybe you can even get better items. And I think there was multi levels in the dungeon. You could actually go to a deeper dungeon. Probably the loot is a lot better, but you better be prepared for something like that. That sort of thing. And I think that was pretty neat. It was a open play test that they did in December, and I played this game just a little bit during the play test. It was free and it was really neat. I'm pretty excited when this game comes back out. I will probably play it again. I don't know if I'm going to play on stream, but it was fun while I was playing it here. You can see like you got your storage and then you bring in what you can. You start in like a staging area, just like a lot of battle royales. You fight. You kind of fight swinging a sword. You kind of have to point the mouse, sort of like in Chivalry 2 style. There's ranged weapons. You have sorcery. You have sword and shield. It's kind of like a big brute character that can like berserk and stuff like that. There's like a ranger that shoots bow and arrows. There's a thief that you can like stab with knives and stuff like that. You can see some of like the different NPCs that are rolling around here. The combat was fun in this game. I think the coolest part about this, I didn't really have anyone to play with, so it was mostly just me going into a dungeon by myself. I think the coolest part about this is that there's an element of stealth playing with others. What I mean by that is like if you're rolling around by yourself, then you are like putting out torches, you're like sneaking into like little nooks and crannies and areas. You like hear other players around the corner or like in the next room, and so you wait and you watch where they go and then you follow them. There's like this kind of cool stealth to the game that I thought was really rewarding as kind of a solo player. Whereas if you were with a giant group, you might just be going through just destroying everything as you go. I thought that kind of variety of different gameplay based on how many people you had in your group was really neat. I know a lot of people play this game a lot, and I've heard that people are playing Tarkov and still talking about this game because Tarkov is probably the most similar game to this that there is today, but people really remember this one. I can't wait for this to come out. It was just a play test this year. Yeah, see, there's merchants and you can buy stuff and sell stuff and get a bunch of money and bring in healing items so that you can even pet a dog. That's so nice. People going crazy here. I had Red Shell play a little bit with me. She didn't know what the heck was going on. But I played with that a little bit on stream with her. For myself, I played after that and on my own, and I had a lot of fun. Another game that I played was Horizon Zero Dawn. I did not play this at all on stream. I probably won't play it on stream. Sort of vowed I wouldn't play like really long, story-driven AAA games like this, because I think it takes up too much time, and there's usually a pretty involved story, which doesn't do well on stream unless I was playing it like all at once on like a 24-hour stream, which I'm not gonna do. Having my like 3 to 4 hour streams where I'm playing a game like this and splitting it up into like 20 chunks or something, it just doesn't do very well. Not in terms of like viewership. I mean, it doesn't do very well in viewership, but you know, I want it to be somewhat entertaining for anyone that's watching, and I just don't think it's doing it justice. Not to mention, if I'm streaming, I'm not paying attention to the story as much, enjoying the detail of the game as much. So it's worse for me, and it's worse for everyone watching. I don't know. That's my opinion. You guys can tell me what you think about that, but I think I'm gonna keep with that philosophy a little bit. I'm gonna try to avoid the story-driven AAA games that are 60 to 80 hours. Like, I would never play an Assassin's Creed game. They're just way too involved and long. There's so many other fun games I could play that would be shorter and better experiences for any sort of viewer or anybody coming in. But I don't know, my mind could be changed. I have not played a ton of this game, so I don't know if I want to watch the entire trailer. But it was cool. I don't think I'm going to watch the whole trailer. I don't want to spoil anything for myself. Last game that I played this year, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which is the original Amnesia game that came out in 2010, so long ago. I'm not finished with this game yet, but I have been incredibly impressed with this game. I know people talk about it as a really good horror game that they appreciate a lot. I didn't really know what to expect. People said it was really scary. It is scary, but I think the thing that makes it scary, which I was not expecting, is the sound design. The way that they have all these really creepy sounds all around you, and the way that they play with the darkness and the light, and they make you sacrifice something for being in the dark while making you hide in the dark if there's enemies, is really pretty crazy. And I think it does such a good job with all of those elements and bringing them together to make it an incredibly scary experience. But not scary in like the way you would expect. It's kind of more just anxiety inducing. It's like more like the anticipation, which is always the scariest part about any scary thing, is the anticipation. And Amnesia just really hits that. It really hits that note very well. I tried playing this game with Red Shell back in the day, and she did not appreciate it. It was too long. There's too much story and talking. There's too much time between. And frankly, we're sitting next to each other and we're joking and talking. It's a different experience than like kind of playing by myself and able to kind of absorb the environment, hear all the sounds in the headphones. You know, I know that PewDiePie got his start playing this game in the dark with headphones on. And I can see where that would have made the whole experience even more immersive. I never went and watched his videos where he did that, but I think that would be neat to see sometime. But I do see where that came from. Pretty cool game. I'm gonna finish it one of these days. I'll have to get back to it. So yeah, that's my 2022 year in review. Those are all the games that I played. Not as many as I played last year because I was busy with a couple main things this year. And so I really didn't get around to a lot of games. I'm hoping that I will have more time to play, like especially like indie games this year. I feel like my list of games that I wanted to try keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm seeing games that are dropping off the list, and it makes me kind of like regret that I haven't spent more time going back and playing some of those things, which I really would like to do. So yeah, that's it. that's it. That's the 2022 games and review. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Let me know what you think, and I will take any additional games that I should be trying into consideration. I've got a list on my Discord, so check that out, of games that I want to play and games that I'm planning on playing for this stream and for the spouse stream. And I'm really open to any suggestions or great games that you guys appreciate or think are good.